Thank you all for joining us today. I know we all lead busy lives, especially being in travel, and your time is valuable. So really from all of us at Europe Express, thank you for joining us. Please note we are recording this webinar for educational purposes. After the presentation, we will add it to the Europe Express webinars page under the resources tab in the header. So if you do get a phone call or have to go away for any reason, don't worry, you can always rewatch this presentation at a later time. Also, if you have any questions anytime throughout the presentation, please type them in the GoToWebinar module and we will answer them at the end. If we run out of time, we will send you a follow-up email to your question within 24 to 48 business hours. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce Rose Schwartz, who is our North Central Sales Manager. How are you doing, Rose?
Hey, Danielle, I'm doing really good today. How are you?
I am excited to learn about Iceland.
I know we were just talking about it. So we have the privilege of having, a little session beforehand. And I was saying that, I'd been to Iceland, but it's been 100 years. So I'm really excited to start this webinar off today. And I'm going to go ahead and just jump in and get started, everyone. So I want to welcome everyone to the Europe Express webinar today. I am Rose Schwartz, as Danielle said, Business Development Manager for actually the North Central region and New England regions. And today with me, I have a very special guest. So before we begin, I'm going to thank immediately my co-host, Johanna Gilsdorf, for joining us to present the wonders of Iceland. And we're also obviously very thankful to all of you for joining us today, tuning in live, as well as those who are going to be viewing this webinar at a recorded for a later date. We know that these are really unique times, and we appreciate your continued support of Europe Express. So to jump in, the ban on U.S. travelers to the EU, which began on June 29th, is still ongoing. And as of August 17th, the EU has extended to review this in another 2 weeks. If you joined us on our last update webinar, which was just last week, we had mentioned that there are a small handful of countries that are accepting travelers. However, quarantines are necessary upon arrival. So when travelers choose to continue with their plans, they should pack smart and be prepared in the event that there is a need to extend their stay. Border policies and procedures are continuing to change and evolve and can vary by country, so it's important to stay up to date and discuss these policies as they relate to your client's favorite European vacation destinations. Details can always be found on the Europe Express website under our coronavirus update page, which contains links to the US State Department and the CDC, just to name a few. Or you may always speak with your favorite European reservations expert at Europe Express. So while clients are en route or in destination, just make sure that they're aware of Europe Express's emergency contact number. This is really important and it will always be included in their travel documentation. It's a number that's available to them 24/7. We want to say that clients should be prepared for, of course, limited hours of operation and possibilities of required reservations at popular sightseeing venues and restaurants. But for any of these services booked through Europe Express, you're actually going to be advised immediately on closures and cancellations. So, of course, travel in general, including air travel, has become unpredictable. We're going to ask you to check your email from Europe Express for possible air schedule changes so that we can quickly turn that around and confirm with the airline. And of course, clients should be primed for travel disruptions. So we're going to ask for your patience as we navigate together. We have had a lot of this. You've been very patient, and we thank you for that. We know it's a challenging time, but we're confident that one day soon that we'll all be traveling again. So before we virtually visit Iceland, which is very hard to say, virtually visit Iceland, I'll highlight Europe Express. And after Johanna's presentation, I'll give you tips to book with Europe Express. So after that, we're going to take some of your questions, and I'm going to ask that you not forget to type them into the GoToWebinar chat feature so that we can get to those at the end. Until then, at Europe Express, you know that our name says it all. We're going to specialize here in the planning and booking of custom FIT vacations to Europe. 82% of Americans will choose one or a combination of the countries pictured here for their leisure vacations. And we can really help you to book trips to all of them, or like I said, a combination of them. There are 5 pillars that we stand behind. These are the pillars of the Europe Express philosophy and our positioned success in the travel marketplace. In a nutshell, We take absolute pride in saying that since 1990, we've worked exclusively with travel advisors to help you to create fully customizable and commissionable European itineraries for both FIT clients and group travelers. I mentioned this before, but when your clients are traveling, our office in Barcelona is available in the same Central European time zone to assist if they need. This is also the team dedicated to hand selecting our hotels and activity products, and they're currently working with our suppliers to solidify our contracts for 2021. And of course, our US reservations and groups teams, which consist of knowledgeable, passionate, and well traveled reservation specialists. They really have either lived, worked, studied, or traveled extensively throughout Europe, so they know our destinations and products inside and out. Now, Europe Express is your one-stop shop for independent European vacations. Our product offers include air. So we have air contracts with all of the major carriers, 17 in total, into and out of Europe. For the FIT itineraries, we're going to pay you 5% commission on that air, no matter the class of service. And for groups, we're going to help you to manage the fulfillment and utilization and deadlines around those flights that we book for your group. On the hotel side, for some, the most important part of their vacation. For others, just the need for clean, safe surroundings. We offer 3, 4, 5-star hotels, castles, villas, paradors, posadas, B&Bs, apartments, you name it. On the sightseeing side, we have over 600 sightseeing options, from the basic hop-on, hop-off tours to fast-track entrances. We have special interest tours such as beer and wine or history and culture that can also be arranged. On the transfer side, we offer shared private and executive transfers from airport to hotel, hotel to train station to cruise port, or wherever your clients wish to go. And of course, for those clients wishing to just go on their own and looking to chart their own course, we're going to help you arrange the car rental. These can be booked round trip or one way, and whichever your clients prefer. And that, of course, brings us to rail. And anyone who's listened to my presentations before, even though rail options are not available in Iceland, when clients choose to vacation in Europe, odds are they'll travel by rail at some point during their stay, right? It's easy, quick, affordable, scenic, and not to mention eco-friendly, multi-generational, and I've said it before, a bit romantic. We can actually arrange point-to-point tickets, most all of which are inclusive of seat reservations on high-speed domestic, international routes, as well as intercity, Eurocity, and regional routes in second, first, and premier categories. So now that you know a little bit about Europe Express and the products and services that we offer, let's virtually travel to Iceland with Johanna and
Mhm.
learn about what Iceland has to offer. So Johanna, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Okay, great. All right, let's do that. Okay,
And I'm
so
sorry to interrupt. I am getting a few comments about people losing audio. If you are losing audio, I would recommend trying the phone call option on the GoToWebinar module. I'm not sure why there's some audio issues, but if you would try that instead, give that a shot. So thank you. Anyways, Johanna, go ahead.
okay, great, thanks. Thank you, Rose, for the nice introduction and letting us all know about, what's going on with Europe Express. Again, my name is Johanna Gilsdorf. I've been working in the travel industry here in Iceland for over 12 years now. I'm actually half American, half Icelandic. I am based here in Reykjavik. I do have a lot of slides to go over, so just bear with me. It's a lot of information in a short period of time. We just want to give you as much information as possible. So, I mean, the more you know, the better you can sell. So this next slide, this is probably one of my, more crappier slides, if you will. Got to talk about the COVID, not that I want to. Um, the picture here is actually the screenshot from Iceland's official COVID website. So the website is covid.is. Here you'll find the most updated information on what Iceland is doing and what travelers face when they arrive in Iceland. Whatever I tell you today may be different tomorrow, so I'm not going to get into it because this changes seriously here on like a weekly basis. We are testing people upon arrival at the airport, and as of today, they do have to test again a few days later. We do follow Schengen guidelines, and to date, as Rose already mentioned, Americans are not allowed into Europe. We don't know when this will change, hopefully soon. I definitely want to get you and your clients here as soon as possible. So just about where is Iceland? I'm sure all of you know that Iceland, where it is, and that it's very well situated between the US and Europe. It's a comfortable 5-hour flight from the East Coast, a 7-hour flight from the West, and from Iceland about 3 hours to most of European capitals. So it's a great destination for stopovers. So Iceland Air has 4 destinations in Canada, Edmonton, Montreal, Vancouver, seasonal flights, and Toronto is all year. And then we have 14 destinations in the United States, US, or it's Anchorage, it's Boston, Chicago, everything you see on the left-hand side there. At this point, we don't know what's going to be available after COVID has run its course. I mean, we do still fly to Boston, but as far as I know now, that's really only with goods. So we don't have the information yet of how this may change. But we, of course, will keep you updated on that. Next slide. So why Iceland? There's really no place like it. It has that wow factor. There's 10,000 waterfalls, 15 active volcanoes, 800 hot springs. We have glaciers. We have black sand beaches. It's really truly unique. In Iceland, you can go inside a glacier or descend inside a dormant
Sorry,
volcano.
Johanna.
Yeah.
Sorry, we seem to have a little bit of technical difficulties. It seems like the slides are one behind. So if you don't mind, maybe pushing one forward. We're on the Where is Iceland slide right now. It does seem to be lagging a little bit with time.
Yeah, I noticed that with Rose's too.
Yeah, I think it's a GoToWebinar issue.
Okay, let me see. Do you see it now? Why Iceland?
Not yet, no.
Because I'm on it on my screen here. I'm on it, so I'm not sure what.
Yeah, we're seeing the Where is Iceland slide right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not
can't
sure.
see any screens. Wondering. Okay, there's why Iceland. That's correct.
Okay, so now we're here. So we're
now we're
on the
why
correct
Iceland.
Slide. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So no problem. So everything I was just mentioning, like I said, it has the wow factor. Glaciers, black sand beaches. Everybody here speaks English, and they actually speak it very well. People are very friendly. They're really down to earth. They are proud of Iceland and enjoy, talking to you about their heritage and their culture. Iceland is the land of the midnight sun during the summertime with up to 24 hours of daylight, like Alaska. In the winter, Iceland enjoys the northern lights. That season is from about mid-September to mid-April. And new services and activities are continually being developed in Iceland. We're also seeing exciting new type of travel, like a small group travel amongst North Americans. Of course, this was all pre-COVID. Yeah, and that's with the smaller group travel, participants take kind of more of a part in authentic experiences and meeting the locals. So I'm going to go to the next slide and see if you guys can follow that. Iceland at a glance, is that what you guys are seeing?
Give it a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's just being delayed today. Yeah, it hasn't moved yet.
Okay. Well,
thank you everyone too for your commentary on here.
I wonder if I should continue talking about it even though the slide isn't up, or what you think we should do.
That just seems to be lagging. Yeah, it's still the why Iceland slide.
Right. I don't know if I should go like forward a few and then back, if that's gonna do anything to help.
Yeah.
No.
I say we just continue on. I mean, I'd still like to learn about Iceland as much as I can. Oh, there we go.
Okay. There we go. Iceland. So maybe go to the next slide now.
Yeah, really. Should I go ahead and do that? I'll do that now.
Yeah.
So Iceland at a glance, just some general facts on Iceland. We are about 38,000 square miles. It's roughly the size of Kentucky. The population is 357,000, somewhere around there, 360,000, with about 2/3 living in the capital city, which is Reykjavik. The currency is the Icelandic kroner, and these days, for Americans and Canadians, the dollar is very strong. So that's a great thing for you guys. So $1 today is equal to about 138 Icelandic kroner. We are on the Greenwich Mean Time year round. We don't change our clocks. So in the summertime, we are 4 hours ahead of the East Coast, 7 hours ahead of the West Coast. And in the wintertime, that changes to 5 hours East Coast and 8 hours ahead of the West. So language is Icelandic, but English is, widely spoken. Pretty much everyone speaks English. So going to the next slide, which is a map of Iceland. You guys will probably get there at some point. I'm hoping
It's there. We're good.
now. Okay. I always like to show this map. I'm going to go to the next slide because it kind of gives you a better layout of the land, so to speak. 10% of the territory is covered by glaciers, including Vatnajökull Glacier, which is that big white mass there. That's the biggest one in Europe. 60% of the territory is highlands, which is the middle brown area there, volcanic deserts. These regions are uninhabited. So then we have 30% of Iceland, which is inhabited, and those are kind of dotted along the coast there. Those are the towns and villages that are, that are basically fishing and farming towns. Fishing and farming is actually Iceland's main production. So that's a little bit about the layout of the land. Next slide I have up is the weather and hours of daylight. So climate in Iceland is relatively mild. We have a chart here, as you can see, that just shows how many hours of daylight we have per month. Again, Iceland is very similar to Alaska with the long summer days, but then we, of course, have the short winter nights with the daylight sometimes being only around 4 hours. So that is definitely something to keep in mind when people want to come in December, January, February. It is very dark at that time. So, it starts getting light at maybe 10:30 a.m. and dark again around 4 p.m. So Iceland is not considered to be a very warm place. Most tourists do not come to Iceland for the weather. But thanks to the Gulf Stream, it goes right over Iceland, so temperatures are usually pretty moderate year-round. The average temperature in July may be about 54 degrees, but it does get into like the 70s, I'd say low 70s on a good day. Winter in Iceland, it actually doesn't snow as much as people think, at least not here in Reykjavik. We don't see that much snow, but the north, the east, and the west fjords will see quite a bit of snow in the wintertime. So now I'm going to the next slide here. The next slide is basically Europe Express for Iceland. It's a one-stop shop, like Rose already mentioned. We can pretty much do anything. We have to work with incentive groups, all kinds of special interest groups, FIT and tailor-made requests. We have worked with plenty of like high-end, clientele. We have done a ton of work with school groups. So just something to keep in mind. We can, do a little bit of everything. All right. Not sure what you guys are seeing. I'm on a self-drive slide right now just to go over a little bit on our FIT products. We do have self-drive packages for both winter and summer. With these self-drive packages, we have accommodation. We always include breakfast. Of course, the rental car with a CDW insurance, unlimited mileage, theft protection, GPS system, additional driver at no extra cost, pick up and drop off at the airport, which is, pretty convenient. And we also have an emergency telephone number that is available 24 hours a day. We do have activity bundles that you can purchase with these self-drives, just depending on where the drive is taking you. For example, now I don't know if you can see the screen, we have something called the Hot Spring Specialist. And that is a bundle that includes entrance to 3 different hot springs on that specific self-drive tour. And when looking at the self-drive packages, you can see what bundles best suit each package. So it's always easy to put a theme on each tour. And it's cheaper purchasing these bundles rather than buying these activities individually. So let's see, I'm on the next
slide. Seem to be on time now.
Oh, they're on
So
time now? Okay,
good.
great.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were doing good.
Okay, so now do's and don'ts of driving in Iceland. This is just, about a little bit about what you can expect when you come here driving. We do drive on the right-hand side. The max speed on highways is about 60, urban areas anywhere from 20 to 40. Gravel roads, they are quite a bit in the countryside, especially in the West Fjords. You're not going to really go over much over 30 there. Seatbelt, of course, headlights at all times. We do ask people to check the weather forecasts daily. Every time they wake up in the morning, they can either jump online or ask the receptionist at the hotels what the forecast looks like each day. We do have a couple of different signs in Iceland that you would not be used to. For example, one-lane bridges, and we have one-lane tunnels as well, which is something that would probably freak most people out, but you would just kind of have to read up on it a little bit. Sunglasses, of course, are a must, especially in the wintertime. The sun doesn't go up that high in the sky, so a lot of times it's like right in your eyes when it's shining. So that's a must. And you must look at the roads at all times. We do have a lot of distractions with waterfalls all over the place. There's sheep on the roads, horses off to the sides of the road. So people really need to pay attention to what's in front of them. So that's just a little bit on the do's and don'ts of driving. So escorted tours, there's summer and winter, anywhere from 3 to 11 days. We do have large group and small group escorted tours. The large group, no more than 36, small, no more than 16. And we have seen this, of course, pre-COVID with the small groups being, becoming more and more popular. We have Iceland Complete Summer and Hidden Powers or Winter, which are best-selling escorted tours. All these tours are operated with licensed and specialized suppliers. Passengers are escorted by, top guides, and guides are handpicked. All accommodations are great quality, include breakfast, and dinners in the countryside usually have an emphasis on the local ingredients per region, depending on where you're going. So short breaks and stopovers, again, we have them both summer and winter. Perfect packages for a short 2 to 4 day stopover if you're on your way to Europe. These packages can be based on themes like a city break, a wellness and spa break, Northern Light packages, culture and adventure, whatever you're looking for. As you can see here on the slide, booking these packages does save time and money as opposed to booking things individually. So that's just something to keep in mind. So plenty of day tours from Reykjavik. If your clients don't have much time in Iceland, they can still get a lot out of Iceland in just a few short days. This particular picture is from the tour into the glacier, which is not too far from Reykjavik, but is a full day tour. So this is an example of a tour from Reykjavik. So just to talk a little bit about the Northern Lights again, they are a huge attraction in the wintertime, visible in Iceland from mid-September to mid-April. We can never guarantee these sightings. Obviously, it's always a hunt. We like to call them basically like a treasure hunt. Some more pointers. Weather is a big factor. It has to be a clear night. If it's cloudy, there really is little chance of seeing them. They can often be seen just right outside of Reykjavik, but it's always better to get more out of the city just to avoid any light pollution. So the Northern Lights tour will take your clients away from the city. Usually begin with pickup between 8 and 10 p.m. A decision is taken daily whether or not they'll go, so people would have to check with their receptionist at the lobby. We have these tours in large buses, smaller buses, super jeeps, boat tours. Duration can be anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, even 5. So these can run, past midnight. So it's definitely a good thing to be aware of what you're doing the next day, because your clients will be pretty tired after these tours. Fully refundable if tour is canceled, but there's no refund if tour is run and they don't see the Northern Lights. Many of the Northern Light suppliers do offer a second chance to see them if they don't see them the night they go. So just good to know about accommodation in Iceland. Architecture and decor is mainly like a Nordic design, clean lines. Make sure your clients know that both rooms and bed sizes are quite a bit smaller than in the US. And I mean, if you have clients that are used to traveling in Europe, they know this already. But it's always good to meet clients' expectations, but better than having them, be disappointed from day one. So just a thing to know about tipping here. The locals here don't tip. If, of course, your clients are extremely pleased with your server or your guide or driver, they can, of course, tip, but it's something we don't do, especially at restaurants and bars and stuff like that, cafes. So that's just something that a lot of people don't realize is not necessarily custom here. A little bit of information about the Blue Lagoon. It is necessary to book the Blue Lagoon in advance. There are many days that are fully booked. There are different tickets that you can purchase. The one that we most often purchase is called the Comfort entrance, and this includes a towel, you get a mud mask, you get a drink of choice at a swim up bar, which this can include alcoholic drinks like beers and wines. With a premium ticket, you get the same thing as the Comfort, but you do get bathrobe and slippers and a reservation into the Blue Lagoon restaurant called Lava. And with that reservation, you get a sparkling glass of sparkling wine. So that's just something to keep in mind. I do want to go over the regions of Iceland. They're generally split to 7 geographical regions of the north, south, west, east, the west fjords, Reykjavik, and the capital area, and then Reykjanes. Each of these regions of Iceland are drastically different. We have black sand beaches to moss-covered lava fields. So visitors to Iceland experience amazing scenery, really, like wherever they are on the island. So just a bit about Reykjavik. Has a lot to offer. It's only 40 minutes from Keflavik International Airport. It's close to the Blue Lagoon, which is only about 30 minutes away. In general, it's ideally situated to many highlights of the country that are reachable within a day's tour. These include the geysers, Gullfoss or the Golden Waterfall, the black sand beaches of Vik, Eyjafjallajökull volcano, just to name a few. So again, if you only have a short time in Reykjavik on a short stopover, you can really take a lot in. It's a very safe city, which I know is something that is always on people's minds these days. The Global Peace Index has ranked Iceland as one of the safest countries in the world, actually a few times over the past few years. So just a picture. This is one of the main sites in downtown. This is our church, Hallgrímskirkja Church. That's what it's called.
And Johanna, it is lagging a little bit again, so if you don't mind just pushing it forward.
Okay. Which one are you on now? Do you see?
No, we just hit the church, so we're good now.
Okay, so that was the church.
We've gotten quite a few questions too about if they can get the slide deck after this, which I don't see why not. So we will definitely send that over to everyone after the presentation. So okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. So I'm hoping you guys are at Reykjavik. This is just a picture of Reykjavik in the wintertime. Actually, as it's seen from the top of that church that I was showing you, you can actually go to the top of it. So that's that. I'm not sure where we are now, but this is a picture of a sculpture that's right by the ocean. It's called the Sun Voyager in English, Solfarið in Icelandic, and it actually looks like an old Viking ship. Again, I'm not sure where we are yet. If we continue on to the south part of the country, again, I've mentioned this a few times, we do have the black sand beaches, Eyjafjallajökull volcano, which is, I'm sure many of you remember that little eruption back in 2010 that pretty much put Iceland on the map. We have the Golden Circle, which is the geysers, the Golden Waterfall. We have glaciers in the south of Iceland. We have waterfalls, I mean, thousands of them. The one in particular is called Seljalandsfoss that you can actually walk behind it, which is pretty cool. We have Vatnajökull Glacier and National Park, as well as the famous glacial lagoon. So this is just some of the sites you'll see in the south. Now, this is just a picture here of the Golden Circle area. I'm not sure where we're at. So this consists of, the Golden Circle area consists of Þingvellir National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's actually the site of the world's first parliament. And it's a visible site of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is the where the American and the Eurasian tectonic plates meet. This is all on the Golden Circle tour. Here we have the Glacial Lagoon. At least I have that up on my screen right now. Okay. Okay, and then we have that waterfall, Seljalandsfoss. That's the one that I said is on the, it's in the, again, it's a day tour from Reykjavik all the way to Vik, which is in the south. So you will see a few different waterfalls, but this one in particular is neat because you can walk behind it. I don't know if you guys are at that picture yet. Okay, so if we move on to the east, it's the home to about 16,000 Icelanders that live in the east. The capital, the unofficial capital of the east is called Egilsstaðir. We have, breathtaking fjords, plenty of quaint fishing villages. The landscape is extraordinary. You know, the highlights of the east include wild reindeer, which is pretty neat to see herds of reindeer running around. Picturesque, you know, villages, fishing villages. We have, again, plenty of waterfalls, nature reserves, and something called the Wilderness Center, which is actually a pretty neat place for people that really want to get away from it all to visit. It's kind of a farm visit. I actually have another slide of that coming up here. And then we have Vurk Baths, which is a kind of like not a blue lagoon, but it's like a geothermal hot spring that is pretty new. I actually haven't been there myself, but people rave about it that have been. So here's a picture of East Iceland and the mountains. I'm not sure what you're seeing. There's another one.
Perfect.
And this is the Wilderness Center. Like I said, it's definitely a unique experience if you have people that really want to get away from it all. Guests at the visiting the Wilderness Center, they experience kind of the past of Iceland. There's unique accommodation, local food, exhibitions. They also provide a number of different tours right from the center. It's an old farm that has been renovated in like a traditional Icelandic style. The picture of the family in the left-hand corner there, they're actually the owners. He's a filmmaker, so his attention to detail to create authentic experience really shines through with this place. You can see in the first two pictures the unique accommodation. It's like the old Viking longhouses where everyone slept in the same long room. This is definitely ideal for families traveling together. It's almost like sleeping in a museum. It's really interesting. So this is a great place, and it gets excellent reviews on TripAdvisor. So if we go to the North Iceland, we have the second largest city in Iceland is in the north. It's called Akureyri. This is a great town. It's a very popular tourist destination. They offer a wide range of activities. You can go golfing there. They actually have a golf tournament that tees off, I think, at midnight in the summertime. Popular swimming facilities, a botanical garden, great hiking trails. So there's plenty to see and do in North Iceland. We have Europe's most powerful waterfall called Dettifoss that is in the northern part of the region as well. And Akureyri is kind of like Reykjavik. If you get up north and you only have 2 or 3 days up in Akureyri, you can see a lot of the north because there's so much you can do just from Akureyri, the city. So these are just some highlights. You can go to Lake Mývatn, where it's kind of like the Blue Lagoon of the north. It's more authentic. It's not as much of a tourist attraction, but it's actually I prefer that one of the two, of the Blue Lagoon and the Mývatn Nature Baths. I prefer that one. So this is that Lake Mývatn area, and you can see in the left hand corner and the top corner there, that's the Blue Lagoon of the north. So again, it's a little bit more rustic than the Blue Lagoon, but it's just as beautiful. Then we have a picture here of the world's most powerful waterfall called Dettifoss. Sure. And then we have, again, plenty of fishing villages throughout Iceland, but this one is called Siglufjörður. It's very quaint. It's famous for its herring industry, which was strong in the 40s and 50s. Great activities, whether winter or summer. There's mountain biking, hiking, skiing, golf, snowshoeing. There's a local microbrewery there and a local chocolate cafe. So we move over to the west. West Iceland is the home of the Snæfellsnes Peninsula. You know, you'll find lava caves there, so people can go caving. There's a microbrewery on this peninsula. It's characterized by fjords and valleys, volcanoes, craters. The pearl of this peninsula is Snæfellsjökull Glacier. And the west of Iceland is also where most of the Icelandic sagas took place. So this is really, you know, Viking country. Among the sites that can't be missed are Glimmer Waterfall, which is the tallest waterfall in Iceland, Vatnafoss and Hraunfossar waterfalls. We have a Black Pebble Beach. We have Iceland's largest hot spring, Kirkjufell Mountain, craters. I mean, you name it. It's just really a beautiful area. And again, the Snæfellsnes Peninsula is a day tour from Reykjavik. So here's pictures of Hraunfossar waterfall and the Northern Lights. Some more pictures of the Snæfellsnes Peninsula. That mountain there on the left corner picture there that's that mountain Kirkjufell, which is one of the most photographed mountains in Iceland. And then we have Arnarstapi. This is a popular spot again with photographers as well. So if we go to the West Fjords, here you really get to the remote, untouched nature, remote area of Iceland for sure. The westernmost point of Europe is at Lauterbjarg, which is a 9-mile cliff in the West Fjords. This is actually home to a lot of puffins. I was recently there in July, and there was a ton of them. This is an area of Iceland that is not that populated with tourists. So if you, again, have clients that really want to get away from, other people, really, that I'd go to the West Fjords for sure. Some other highlights include there's an annual concert there in April called Aldrei fór Suður, and you can find Arctic fox. They live in this area, so you can see them sometimes running about. So this is Ísafjörður. This is the honorary capital of the West Fjords. It's home to about 2,700. It's the largest town in the West Fjords. Here's a beautiful tiered waterfall called Dynjandi. It's also known as the Thunderer. Rauðasandur Beach. Again, we have black sand beaches, but we also have, golden white sand beaches in Iceland. So, and this ones, you will only find these ones though in the West Fjords. And here's that cliff where you can see the puffins in the summertime. That's only in the summer months. The puffins usually show up around mid-May and leave by mid-August. And you can actually really get quite close to them and get great pictures. There's a picture of puffins on the cliff there. So if we head over to the Reykjanes Peninsula, this is like near Reykjavik, you'll find the airport, the Blue Lagoon, a beautiful coastline. It's great driving in this area. You almost feel like you're driving in a car commercial. It's just the scenery is really out of this world. Here's some pictures. You'll find lighthouses, again, the Blue Lagoon. And this is a lake in the area. And more pictures of the Blue Lagoon. Now that mud they have on their faces there, that's that silica mud that everyone gets to try to put on their face when they go to the Blue Lagoon. So it's kind of neat. It's supposed to take years off your face. I'm not sure how true that is, though. I've tried it a few times. So then we have the wilderness, the interior of Iceland. It's called the Highlands. They're unpopulated areas. They're mainly accessible over the summer months. A few of the top places to visit are Þórsmörk, the Valley of Thor, Landmannalaugar, Hveradalir. Here you can find geothermal hot springs, and Kerlingafjöll, which is a mountain range in the area. Here are just some more pictures of the highlands. Now these are places in Iceland that during the summer months are very popular with hikers, both tourists and Icelanders alike. Let's see here. This one is Þórsmörk, the Valley of Thor. Again, really popular. A lot of people go there and tent, go camping in the summertime. So it's a great place to visit. Absolutely beautiful. So we just go over a bit more about, what Iceland can offer your clients. It's a perfect place for themed tours. This is just an example of what we've done in the past as far as groups. I mean, there's been music and art groups and knitting and bird watching and culinary. The food here in Iceland is extremely good. And that's actually pretty shocking for a lot of people. I don't think they just don't know what to expect, and they're just amazed by the food here. Photography tours, bachelorette and bachelor getaways. We've done pretty much everything. As far as activities go, we offer an array of activities at really any physical level. Glacier walks are not strenuous at all. Hiking can be moderate to extreme, just depending on the shape or physical level people are in. The same can be said about caving. It can be very easy and it can be difficult. So many of these activities here above you can do in both the winter and the summer. And then we have maybe more for the adventure extreme enthusiasts. You'll find ice climbing and heli skiing and diving and rock climbing and all that stuff there. That's kind of for the more crazier adventurous, I think. So that's pretty much all that I was going to go over. That tak faded means thank you. Thanks for listening. I hope everybody learned a little bit of something over these 25 minutes or so. So that's pretty much it for me. You want to take it over, I guess, Rose?
I had myself on mute. So, yeah,
I hear you.
oh my goodness. Yeah, no, I definitely want to take it over, and I hope that everyone can see my screen. First, I want to say thank you, Johanna, so much for that inspiring presentation. Yes, we had some technical difficulties. Yes, this happens when we do presentations. But as you and I and Danielle talked about before, Iceland is a country that I visited a million years ago, right? Or what seems like a million years ago. And you did say to me that you think it's time for another trip. Well, I'm going to tell you that it has moved up to the #1 spot for
Oh,
me.
yay, yay.
Yay! after COVID. So definitely you're going to be seeing me there very soon. But for
Great.
everyone else, now that you're ready to book Iceland, we're going to go over some of the ways that Europe Express can help you to plan and book the perfect European itineraries for your clients. So we optimize your time by taking care of all the trip logistics so you can really spend more time selling other things, right? We're taking that time away from you so that you can free up your time to sell more clients on other product as well. With our 24/7 emergency support, we talked about this before, you have peace of mind that your clients are in excellent hands for the full duration of their trip. And we are specialists in Europe. We are dedicated to equipping you with the resources that you need to plan a trip for your clients that's going to exceed their expectations. We'll make sure that their entire process, your entire process, the entire process, runs smoothly from the initial quote to your client's return home. So if you're ready to get started, I'm going to ask that you first make sure that you're registered advisor with Europe Express under your agency's profile. Now remember, if you are an independent contractor or you work at home, out of your home, our technology actually allows for you to enter your mailing address into your login profile, which is going to still allow you to reap the benefits of the contracted commissions that we have through your hosts and through your consortia. But what it also allows us to do is to have our BDMs be able to be in contact with you directly, depending on where you're located and where they're located. Plus, any paper documents can then be sent to you versus to like a headquarter office in another city or state first, and then have to be remailed out to your home address. So once you're registered, there are 4 easy ways to request a quote. First one is going to be using our 24/7 award-winning online booking system. So at europeexpress.com, you can go right on and you can start to create that quote. You can also fill out one of the FIT or group quote custom quote request forms, again, hard to say, where you're simply going to enter your client's departure information, the cities that they'd like to visit, the length of time. Why is this moving forward? Sorry, that is strange. So now we have the system doing things on its own. Okay, where was I? You can also send an email to our reservations department. The same information that you would put in a custom quote request form, you can put into an email. But I'm going to ask you, with the custom quote request form and with the email that you send to us, it says it on this slide, please be as detailed as possible. This is where we have a hang up in the quote request time. So if you're not giving us enough information to create that quote, the back and forth with the email is where we're going to find that there's that hang up and delay. Now, of course, the 4th way is to also call our reservation experts. Again, they're super knowledgeable, super well-traveled, and super helpful. And I'm just going to go back. You can really start a booking online, which is, again, that first point that I was talking about, at your own convenience. And then you can call us for recommendations or to finalize the booking after. We want you to find the best way for you to book with us. And remember, I'm going to say it, I've said it in other presentations, but Europe Express does not differentiate commission based on the channel you use to book with us. So we're not going to say, oh, I'm sorry, you started online, you have to finish online. That's not the case at all. Again, our reservation experts are there. They're ready to help you complete that booking and complete that quote. So any way you choose, again, we're going to make you look like a rock star. Within 10 minutes of receiving a quote number, whether you do it yourself or you have one of our reservation agents do it, you'll have an immediate access to 3 different documents: your advisor copy of the invoice, a client copy of the invoice, and an itinerary that looks as if you spent days putting it all together with pictures and descriptions. We're really going to make you look like that expert. And what about the advisor resources that we have? I want you, if you haven't already, subscribe to our newsletter where you're going to learn more about webinars like this one. We have a bunch more coming up the rest of this season, as well as new products, FAM opportunities, and such. Our flyers are going to highlight our most popular sightseeing options by country, culinary experience, history, romance-themed getaways. We also have a tipping guide for European countries. And this is important because you just heard Johanna talk about the tipping in Iceland and how it's not necessary to do that. This document can be downloaded and emailed or printed to give to your clients. And if you need help researching specific destinations, be sure to check out the handy city guides. These are going to give you restaurant recommendations, shopping opportunities, maps, city history, and more. They're an educational tool for you, but you can also share these with your clients. The only thing that I'm going to ask you to do, given the size of the documents, I recommend that you email them to your client versus printing them. And then information under our sightseeing options. It may not be an exhaustive list of all the product we have to offer, but this information can also be downloaded into a PDF and emailed to your client. Best of all, it only includes the description on the specific sightseeing tour or activity, but it doesn't divulge the individual pricing to your clients. Remember, your total package price with Europe Express is one package price to your clients. We do not break out individual costs on the client copy of your invoice. And one of my absolute favorites is and can be found under the FIT travel page. It is labeled Packages by Destination. You can select one of the itineraries online here, enter departure dates, select hotels, and add the client's information to create a quick quote. Now, these itineraries are prepackaged and they may be booked as they are, or what I like to use them for as a jumping off point for FIT discussions between you and your clients. Now, we have an amazing team of business development managers. We're all here to help you find answers to any questions that you have. We can schedule in-person or virtual office visits via Zoom, GoToMeeting, Teams, whatever it is. We can do individualized trainings and help solve any issues. Our contact information is here on this slide, but it can also be found under the About Us section and under Sales Team Bios on europeexpress.com. Now, I want to say you can also get a hold of our FIT and groups departments. So hours of operation for our FIT team are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. So just make note of that. And they can be reached by phone here or email. It's listed here for you. I'm going to also ask that you note our FIT department is currently closed on weekends due to the pandemic, but we're going to reopen on Saturdays and Sundays once the bookings to Europe start picking up. Our groups department also has their own dedicated phone number and email. Their hours do differ just a little bit. So Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And again, if you can't find this contact information or if you don't have access to it immediately, you can go on europeexpress.com and find that information. So before we take any questions, I want to thank all of our advisor participants for your attendance today and for your participation as always. And until our next webinar, I wish you a very, very sincere health and happiness, and when the world opens back up, to all of us, successful selling. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that slide back up for our contact information, and I'm going to ask Danielle if we have any questions, and hopefully Johanna and I have some questions that we can answer. Danielle?
Yeah, we have quite a few questions, and a lot of them are for Johanna, so
Of course.
I hope you're ready for fun. The first one, Johanna, is from Mark. He's wondering, driving the ring road, what is the fewest number of nights you would recommend to do this and still see all of the awesome sights? Is there a recommended number of nights for this itinerary? What do you suggest?
Yeah, you can do, I mean, you could do the circle in like 10, 12 days, but I mean, I would say you really don't need much more than 7 or 8 days to do it and do it well, I'd say. So
Okay,
7 days, yeah.
cool. Mary wants to know, can you combine the activity bundles that you talked
Yeah, you
about with
can.
car rentals, I think? Okay.
Yeah, if those specific activity bundles are available for the tour that you want, that's no problem at all. There can be a few of them, yeah.
Okay. And is driving on the right side or the left side of the road?
It's right side, like in the
Right
States.
side.
So,
All right,
yeah.
good. Good for us.
Mhm.
Riza wants to know, does Iceland have a rainy season?
No, not like you would have, I think, in some parts of Southeast Asia or anything like that. But there's yeah, no, I mean, you can't really say there is necessarily a rainy season. I mean, we just have good summers. We have summers that are more wet than not. I think that's pretty much the case anywhere, really. Our falls can be really nice. They can be rainy, so it really just depends on how lucky we get with weather. But there's no specific time that you can say like March is rainy or not. I mean, it can be. It can also be sunny. So I would say no. There's no specific rainy season, no. But if you do want to know the best time to come, I think it's July and August for sure, just because of it's pretty neat to see the almost 24-hour daylight, and there's very little darkness. But if you want the Northern Lights, that's obviously going to have to be later in the year. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I think you had a question for that later, so that's great. Elizabeth is asking, is Iceland considered an affordable destination?
I would say right now for Americans and Canadians, it is, just because of how strong the dollar is. I mean, 2 years ago, Iceland's never going to be a cheap destination. I mean, that's just hands down, that's not ever going to happen. But the way the dollar has gotten stronger now, it's definitely in your guys' favor to come now, as opposed to maybe 2 years ago where the dollar wasn't as strong. Um, these past few, I guess, months even the dollar has been, a lot stronger than we've seen it in a long time. So once people can get here, hopefully that will still be the case. So yeah.
Okay. Catherine is wondering, how is parking in the capital, Reykjavik? I say Reykjavik, and it's Reykjavik? Is how
Yeah,
you
that's
actually
right.
pronounce it?
Yeah,
Reykjavik?
that's
Okay.
right. Mhm.
Are there
Um,
fees to park in
yeah,
the town center?
there some of the hotels, of course, have parking. That's not a big problem. There are parking garages, and a lot of these just have booths that you go to pay. It's really all that kind of stuff is pretty easy here. There's even apps. I'm not sure when people bring their phones over here how many of the phones actually would work here or how much you would be paying for that. But I mean, as far as parking, it's usually not it's not a problem at all. Like I said, they do have these like booths that you can use in the car garages, and like I said, many of the hotels have their own parking. So
Okay, great. I'm going to switch it over to Rose. I have a couple questions for Rose. Ashley is wondering, does Europe Express offer Northern Lights group tours that are a set itinerary, or is it just a custom group tour?
It's not a custom group tour. We do offer sightseeing that includes the Northern Lights. So we do a lot again with Johanna's group, and they can definitely help us to put together FITs as well as groups to see these things. Yeah.
And then another question for you, Rose. Can you book just tours with Europe Express or just car rentals with Europe Express? Is that possible?
Actually, I'm glad for this question because we do review it in some of the other webinars that we do. So just quickly, of the product offers that I went over today, that I highlighted today, air and rail are the only two components that cannot be booked individually with Europe Express. So air and rail must be booked with hotel component. Otherwise, you have the transfers, the car rentals, the hotels, and the sightseeing that can all be booked individually through Europe Express.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Back over to you, Johanna. Christy is wondering, could you say again where you can see the puffins?
You can actually see the puffins. There's a few different places, but the ones that I was specifically talking about, it's in the West Fjords. It's on this cliff called Lautrabjarg. I mean, if you were just to Google cliff in Iceland with puffins on it, that would definitely come up. So it's in the West Fjords, but you can also see them in the south of Iceland, in a town called Vik, not too far from. Again, that's not a far distance at all from Reykjavik. So, but like again, there is that season. They're only around from about May to mid-August.
Okay, May to mid-August. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
And what about, Kathy's wondering, for the Northern Lights, when is the best time to see the Northern Lights?
That's another question that is so difficult to answer. I mean, I've seen them quite a bit here in October, and to tell you the truth, October I would say is a great month to try to come and see them, because we're not that dark at that point. Like we still have, I'd say, regular amount of hours. I'd say we start getting light around 8, 9, and it stays light till 5:30. So the lightness isn't a problem, and it's definitely not that cold. Although we have had snowstorms in October, so don't quote me on that one. But for the most part, October is really mild, and it is, it's a good time to see them. Like I said, it's not that dark, and the weather's mild, and yeah, and I've seen them in September. I've seen them in October quite a bit. So I would say for Americans that may have a hard time dealing with the darkness, October would be a great month, and the fact that it's still pretty mild.
That's great. And last question, I know we're almost out of time here. Jess wants to know, when is Pride 2021? Did we talk about that at all?
No, Pride is always like the second weekend in August. I think that is like hands down always the case, because the first weekend is like our Labor Day weekend, so it's not that. It's always the weekend after that. So the second weekend in August is always Pride weekend.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for your time, and everyone for joining us with all the technical difficulties that we experienced today. Hopefully we won't have that on the next one. But Johanna, that was so much wonderful, great information. There's so much positive feedback coming in, and we're thrilled to be able to share all these slides with you, with all the agents after this presentation. So we'll make sure we get that out. And thank you, Rose, too.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and we will, so if we didn't get to your question, we will make sure that Johanna or Rose follows up with you with an answer to your question. So without further ado, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.